Truth and Justice, comic fans, the first trailer for James Gunn's Superman Legacy through DC Studios dropped today, so we're going to break it down piece by piece. Stick around. I'm Dan Umpton, and this is the Doomcast. Alright, open on Antarctica, or Arctic, whatever, and Superman's down. This is a reference, of course, to the fact that Superman is invulnerable and cannot be hurt. Also, that he can fly. If you're a real comic fan, of course, you've known this the entire time. You also know that he's Clark Kent and that he doesn't have a haircut like that. But in this case, it works, where he works at the Daily Planet. Also, you would know that Superman's very hard to make bleed, but he is bleeding for some reason. Who made him bleed? This is a reference to the original Richard Donner Superman, and it made me feel chills. Lois having long hair and boobs is a reference to the fact that she's a woman. Lois and Clark looking at each other is a reference to the fact that they are a couple. This is a reference to James Gunn's ego. This is a reference to the fact that Clark Kent grew up on a farm in Smallville, Kansas. This is a reference to when the movie's coming out. This is a reference to the fact that Superman has traditionally had a hypersonic whistle to call in his homie, KRYPTO. Hell yeah. This is a reference to the fact that this movie is going to kick ass. And so is this. Superman, compassionate, saving kids. Lex Luthor, looking like a dick. I can't wait. Both figuratively and literally with his bald-ass head. This is a reference to the fact that Lex Luthor knows how to dress. And also, packs apparently a 6-gun?
Superman.
This is a reference to the fact that people get mad about Superman even in the DC universe. Also, let's pause here for a moment. This frame right here, Stag Industries. This is definitely a reference to Metamorpho, who we're going to see later in this trailer and you probably didn't recognize. One of my favorite DC characters who almost never gets any play, but was absolutely peak in Batman the Brave and the Bold. Also, you know, you see him regularly in DC Comics here and there. I think that there's a Metamorpho the Element Man comic coming out, and I think it's Al Ewing who's writing it. But anyway, Rex Mason is dating the daughter of Simon Stagg, who's the owner of Stagg Industries. This is a reference to the fact that Guy Gardner is in this movie with a bowl cut, and that he's a huge chode. Even though I like him, even though I'm a huge Green Lantern fan, still, total chode. But he's also followed by Mr. Terrific. This is a reference to the fact that James Gunn understood the assignment and brought us Shire Hall, Hawkgirl. I'm very stoked for this. Absolutely looks perfect. This is a reference probably to Kroll from All-Star Superman, who is one of the dinosaur people that lived underneath the earth that came out and decided to fight in Metropolis for some reason. Right, I think in the same issue where Samson showed up when Lois had her powers for 24 hours. This is a reference to Solaris the Tyrant Sun, and this also is a reference to the fact that James Gunn is taking huge pages from All-Star Superman, clearly. Wow. Lois and Clark in a loving relationship. This is a reference to one of the robots from All-Star Superman. Once again, they all had blue capes. They were roughly humanoid. Now, normally in regular continuity in DC, Superman has Kellex, which is a Kryptonian robot that was inside of his birthing matrix that he was found with. But these robots were created by him because he's also apparently a super scientist as well, like his father. That tracks. But one of these robots ends up being hacked by Solaris the Tyrant Sun in All-Star Superman and ends up sacrificing himself to try and redeem himself as an apology to Superman. So I wonder if that's what we're seeing here, or if this is, you know, another one of the robots that was attacked and destroyed in an assault on Fortress of Solitude. This is the only frame that we get of Metamorpho the Element Man, and frankly, he looks kind of dope. Metamorpho can kind of make himself into any element that he wants to, but yeah, he's also an ugly, weird-looking freak who used to be an archaeologist adventurer. He's like Indiana Jones if he got turned into a creature that could turn himself into gas or diamonds. It's weird, but that's why I love DC. This is another reference to the fact that the casting of Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor is probably the best casting of Lex Luthor in history. I'm going to stand by that. James Gunn, Kevin Spacey, Jesse Eisenberg, none of them had this look down so perfectly. The dude is really good at projecting with his eyes and honestly looks good bald in a way that very few people do. Grant Morrison does, and he kind of looks like Grant Morrison a little bit. Anyway, this one tiny frame here is people in Baravia. This is a Chiron on GBS News Network, which is where Alan Scott worked in comics. Alan Scott, of course, you're going to remember as the first Green Lantern. He was initially in 1940. He didn't get his powers from the ring, but instead the Starheart, which had been forged into a lantern that he found on a railway in a railroad accident. Anyway, I'm digressing here. I don't know if we're going to see Alan Scott in here, but it wouldn't surprise me if we saw Alan Scott eventually in this. What you are seeing, though, is a reference to Baravia, which is one of a number of fictional countries in the DC universe that, I'm sure Superman's going to intervene in. And it's that same kid from earlier who had the flag hoisted. This dude who is punching through walls and fighting through a stadium, I'm not really sure who he is. I am honestly astonished. He clearly is going toe-to-toe with Supes, but I don't have a clear shot on his identity. If anybody knows, let me know in the comments. This is a reference to the fact that Mr. Terrific is absolutely dope. He's got these T-spheres that are protecting him from a bunch of people trying to gun him down. And this is, again, Superman launching himself into the sun before he goes to fight the Tyrant Sun. Wow. July 11th, this is a reference to the date the movie's coming out. This is a reference to the fact that DC is back, and I can't imagine a better way to start off a rebooted DC universe. I have no notes. The only thing that I am confused about is who the dude that was fighting Superman was. And I honestly don't love the distorted guitar at the very beginning in the John Williams theme. Everything else, absolutely peak and perfect. So, is there something I missed? Something you noticed that I didn't? Anything else you want to talk about? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. This has been the Doomcast. Peace.